I think our flexibility here comes from taking the time out last spring and summer to think of different possibilities, to dream different plans. The Armories was just renovated just a few years ago. There was no thought of a pandemic taking place. Yet, how it was designed, the openness, the idea of it being used for multiple purposes, multiple events, for new technologies.
Taking something that, teaching materials over and over again, finessing them over the years. We're very comfortable in how we present our work to our students, but now having to completely revamp that and present it online, that requires an extraordinary amount of investment of time. And the only way you can do that is if you're properly supported by CTL and the university, and that went incredibly well.
And here now, with the system that we have in the basement of the Armories, we have this cohort that comes in that can hear and see each other, and they could react to each other. No more bedroom karaoke doing Zoom choir, where you just hear piano part or you hear me grumbling at them.
So we have about 16 spaces just down the hall from us where students normally would go in and they practice the piano, sing and do all those things, and they're mostly soundproofed from each other. So we've got this whole area engineered for music already, even before we even thought of any other situation that we're in right now.
I view choir as part of my life, and now being here, at least just seeing in front of, even if it's in a monitor, I can still hear him, and it's something that is really special to me, and it brings me back to what it used to be.
To hear the articulation, to hear each other's breath together, there is nothing else like it in this world.
It's incredible to hear everybody all at once and to see on the Zoom call you get all the smiles. Seeing them all of a sudden interacting in a way that for a whole year just isn't possible, and for a subject that you're so passionate about, and all of a sudden it's back. It's just an incredibly emotional, wonderful moment.
And the looks as they realize that they could interact with each other, that they can once again influence each other's sound. The experience will always be with me. It was like having a photograph of a loved one that you've held on to. And then when that loved one comes home and you could give them a hug.
To a person, the faculty continually innovating, going, okay, so I know what the experience should be. I know what students need to learn. What am I going to do? What can I take advantage of in this time to make that experience, to make sure that learning happens? They have such a short time with us.
In sculpture, I taught a number of different kinds of projects with materials and processes that people could do from home, with found objects and things of that nature. So we did a little software that's easy to do online. Students could email the files into the school here, where Lucy, the technician, would print them for them and then set up a time they could safely come and pick them up.
Sometimes it can be an opportunity when you have that kind of restriction and you're in a box. You have to creatively function within that box and within those restrictions. So in some ways there was a lot of interesting online sharing for people with their materials. So it does translate still into their creative process and the potential for them to continue this work after school's over. Since
we've come to the red zone, we do have, through the provincial guidelines, enough space to allow small classes to occur in the shop so that students can get the real hands-on kind of work and training and experience that we're known for.
All tables and safety equipment is personally assigned for the semester. So everything is sterilized for the student before they arrive. They get assigned to a table. We're actually very used to wearing masks. We're very used to wearing face shields and eye protection. So it was easy for us to sort of slide in.
Just seeing the students come in here and being so excited to be able to actually be out of their homes, back into the studio, working with the skills and learning the skills here was just great.
And so many faculty are just stepping up all over the place to make this happen.
Really important, especially with the kinds of programs that we provide, that students be able to access these supplies. At the beginning of the semester, students will set up an appointment to pick up their supplies. I'll bring them the wireless debit machine. We have a tap option so they're not having to touch the machine, and then they're on their way.
The studio context and the studio culture of working collaboratively is an essential part of being an architect. And so I think every effort was made to balance the issues of safety with the importance of developing certain fundamental skills that are required for students to progress. Luckily enough, in many of our plans, we had anticipate what we would do if there was a border closure. We didn't think it would be a pandemic, but luckily the foresight and the planning allowed our students to complete the semester.
We had to work with our master's students and help them figure out how they were going to make their films without being around other people. So that was really difficult. Some people pivoted to animations, desktop cinema, so getting people like filming things over Zoom or getting people to film themselves. In a film context, sometimes your budgets will change completely, or people will pull out of the projects, or things can happen. That happens all the time, like crisis management and changing your plans, dealing with creative limitations. It's a huge part of filmmaking. So they just had it in a very intense way, and they all dealt with it really well.
I don't think that the new techniques that we've embraced will supplant any of the traditional delivery mechanisms, communication mechanisms, etc. But they will be a great accompaniment. I think it'll just be more tools in our educational toolbox.
It's a whole group of educators who are now committed to making things happen in whatever format comes.
My colleagues still mentor and inspire future artists. Our students are creating art every day. We are alive here at SOCA. There is life.